Hey folks, I'm Chris and I'm your Commander Mechanic. We've got another wild brew here on the channel today. I hung out with chat earlier this week to talk about another one of New Capetta's family bosses, Ziatora the Incinerator. If you want to join me to brew these decks live, be sure to tune into Twitch, twitch.tv/CommanderMechanic. Keep an eye on my socials for when I'm going live. This week we wanted to look at one of the legends from the Riveteers, the red, black, green faction of Streets of New Capenna, and we settled on their leader, the dragon demon Ziatora the Incinerator. This 6-mana 6/6 has flying and reads, at the beginning of your end step you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Ziatora deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Create 3 treasure tokens. If the ability had just stopped at the end of turn fling, it would have been great, but making 3 treasures whenever you do? That gives you incentive to throw a 1/1 at end of turn, if not for the damage, but for the treasure. A really fantastic value engine here. The fact that she triggers on your end step means you can fling things the turn she comes into play, or fling creatures with summoning sickness, or creatures that you've blitzed in using the new Jund colored set mechanic. She enables a ton of strategies, ranging from ramp to treasures to fling-based decks. In fact, she is so open-ended as a commander that chat and I couldn't decide a single focus to take her in. So we didn't. What did we do instead? Well, we created a Modular Commander deck. If you haven't heard of a Modular Commander deck, it's a deck that has a static component, lands, and the nuts and bolts of card draw, ramp, and removal, then has several packages of cards that you slide in and out to create the way the deck plays and functions. It adds neat randomization aspects to your game plan and means that you can play the deck dozens of times and never really have it get boring or be linear. What I settled on was a nice 69 nice card package that stays static every time you play the deck. This includes 37 lands ranging from pain lands like Llanowar Wastes to Tainted Peak to the new Ziatora's Proving Ground, all aimed at getting us as many colors as possible as consistently as possible. I did avoid the inclusion of fetches, but if I were to build this deck in paper and had access to them, I would definitely include them. As you get to decks with 3+ colors, it's important to have consistency in your color generation. The rest of the core package includes board wipes like the classic Blasphemous Act and the new Corpse Explosion. Corpse Explosion being particularly good because we will be filling our graveyard with creatures. Card draw like Morbid Opportunist, Garruk's Uprising, and Death Reap Ritual. Again, all synergizing with the fact that we are casting big creatures and sacrificing creatures at the end of each of our turns, hopefully forcing our opponents to make some hard choices for attacking and drawing cards on their turns too. And of course, ramp. We've got mana dorks like Elves of Deep Shadow, 2-mana ramp like 3 Visits, and Skyshroud Claim because it gets us Triomes and Shock lands to help fix our color needs. The rest of the core package includes some reanimation effects like Phyrexian Reclamation, targeted removal like Beast Within, and some equipment like Grafted Exoskeleton to turn Ziatora into a Phyrexian Demon Dragon, and hopefully take out an opponent or 2 with infect damage. If you want to take a look, I've linked the list, both the core list and the packages, separated accordingly, in the description below. You can find them by following the links to my sponsor, Moxfield. They are the best deck building platform in the world and help make brews like this possible. With custom tagging, I'm able to break down visual representations of these packages to show you what a modular commander deck looks like. With everything laid out, you can search, browse, and favorite decks you want to take a look at later. Be sure to follow my Moxfield profile for my latest brews. Now, with the core deck established, Ziatora can accommodate any number of strategies. Dozens, I am certain of it. But I started with 4 modular choices. With room for 30 cards left in the deck after our core, I decided 4 15-card packages would allow for more variance in strategy and gameplay. This way, when you sit down with the deck, you can choose 2 15-card packages at random and add them to the deck. The easiest way to ensure you don't mix up your core package and your modal packages is to mark the inner sleeves of your modal packages with a number or letter. This allows you to quickly identify them when taking the modules out for a second game or for later use. These modal packages could be larger, of course, each one 30 cards on its own potentially, or I could create more 15-card packages. The goal is to ensure no cards overlap between packages, and that each has an identity that stands on its own and synergizes with other cards in other packages. Let's take a look. The first package is a Treasures package. Since Ziatora has the capability to create 3 treasures each turn, this is a natural way to lean into that synergy. This package isn't about throwing huge creatures, but getting value and ramp from treasures. Included in this package is Academy Manufactor, naturally, who turns Ziatora's 3 treasures into 3 food and 3 clues as well. Incredible value. Goldspan Dragon, who is a great efficient attacker, but also generates treasures on his own, and means each sacrificed treasure makes 2 mana, propelling us into the late game very fast. And synergy pieces like Cranial Plating, that take the volume of treasures we create and turn them into more power, and potentially mean 1 to 2 swings with our big flying demon dragon commander can spell game over via commander damage. With added non-combat damage ways to win of Revel in Riches, Marionette Master, and more, this is a great way to turn money into power. The next modular package I designed is what I call the Hydra package, namely because Hydras. This takes advantage of Ziatora's fling and treasures to make increasingly higher power creatures. These are creatures like Vastwood Hydra, who can not only be big, but gives you a benefit on death of moving around its +1/+1 counters. Same can be said for both Hooded Hydra and Lifeblood Hydra. Great variable power creatures that can make solid attackers and solid fling fodder for Ziatora with benefits when they die. This also includes some backup for Ziatora like Gerard, Golgari Lichlord. If you can't fling with Ziatora because she's been removed a few times, Gerard here can fling creatures at opponents, and not just one, he deals damage to each opponent. Of course, I really like Peluchronos Unchained in this package too, as you have the ability to escape him from the graveyard over and over to fling him every turn. A really neat interaction. And if you think that these are the only big creatures in our packages, no. Our next package is what I call the Ball Lightnings. This is a package full of creatures with much higher power than mana value, and is all about temporary benefit and throwing these big creatures around. Literal Ball Lightning and its cousins Groundbreaker and Blistering Firecat are in this package, as since Ziatora refunds 3 mana when we fling, they're basically discard a card, deal 6 damage to any target, discounting the instances where we may get a free attack in with them too. Then there's Daemogoth Titan, 11 power for just 4 mana. Sure, he demands we sacrifice a creature, but we won't ever have him in play that long. He's 11 damage thrown by Ziatora. Ghalta Primal Hunger is in this package too, ensuring that your big creatures let you cast more big creatures for less mana. And then there's a sneaky include of Viral's the Scarstriped. Once we've flung our creatures, we can scavenge them from the graveyard to put counters onto other creatures to make them even bigger, or to attack and fling them around as well. And our last package is our Steal/Copy package. This package is all about threaten effects, taking opponents' creatures from them and throwing them back at them. Claim the Firstborn, Seize the Spotlight, and Molten Primordial all get us our opponent's juiciest creatures to fling with our commander. And we can make copies of our bigger creatures too. Twin Flame and Heat Shimmer mean that we can sacrifice a copy token of a creature rather than the real creature. And yes, if you're asking, I did include Dualcaster Mage for the sneaky infinite combo. But this package also includes Kiki Jiki, Flame Shadow Conjuring, and Jaxis the Troublemaker, all able to make us token copies of our creatures, so we don't actually lose board state when we start throwing creatures around. And since we're making token copies, why not include Parallel Lives and Doubling Season? Why make only 1 copy when you can make 4? As you can see, again, with the full list linked in the description, these packages wildly change how the deck is played from game to game. Each is robust enough that they could support a full deck with Ziatora at the helm. I think that says a lot about our Dragon Commander here. In fact, if I were to build more packages for this list, I'd look at maybe doing a Dragon Tribal package, where you could use dragons to throw dragons at opponents while making your commander cheaper to cast. Or a Burn package, aimed at turning throwing small creatures at opponents into tons of damage with doublers like Fiery Emancipation and Gratuitous Violence. There are a million ways to take this deck, and honestly, I want to do them all! Let me know in the comments which one of these packages is your favorite and how you would build a Ziatora deck. I'd love to see which direction you'd lean and what you think are the must-haves for this list. As always, folks, thanks for tuning in, good luck, and have fun.